I like the teachers that were more engaging and like let me be more creative and active, because I also had like ADHD.
Dealing with people, like talking and interactive work, it was a lot more hands-on, so it's a lot easier for, especially when I was younger, to pay attention.
Reading books in 6th grade with a teacher that really did not know the books. It was her first 6th grade class, so she did not know how to teach, basically, how to incorporate the books with the schedule.
I didn't really have a lot of math teachers that kind of tried to adjust to adapt to my learning style.
Like the set ways to do everything. There was like explained methods in the book, and it's like if you didn't do it that way, then it was wrong, because then that didn't really like lead to like knowing how to do things properly later. So it's like I kind of wish there was more variety in how to execute, like say, a math problem or something.
You know, a teacher puts, like in math, puts up a problem on a board, and then you don't really know how to do that, and then the teacher thinks like everybody in the class knows what's going on.
Oh, I've been there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, go and do it yourself, and you're like,
you feel so stupid, and you feel low, and you feel like, oh gosh,
I don't know.
I just can't.
Yeah, it's
That's how I
just
felt.
like, it feels like a waste of time.
Oh, obviously every now and then you have like teachers that seem like they have it out for you, but other than that, most of the time they're encouraging.
There are some teachers that I thought were really encouraging. You know, a math teacher that I had in high school was like, you know, there for me all the way, but then when I started taking math classes in college, there was like one guy who I don't know, I had a hard time connecting with, and he just treated us like we weren't smart students, and that kind of changed the trajectory of my grade, because I am a math major kind of, and I'm pretty good at math, and I felt like I wasn't doing well in something that I knew I could do well in. But when I have a math teacher like now that expects me to do well and believes that I can do well, I tend to do well.
I wish that we would have got to tour college campuses while we was in middle school, like the ones here at App gets to do, so we could know how it was in elementary school going into middle school.
Probably like really simple math stuff. Like I was talking to my buddy before about like interest rates and like tipping and stuff. Like it seems so simple, but it would be cool if that was really like put into our lives now.
The importance of studying, and it's kind of hard to teach. You always fight the homework thing, and you always fight like the need to study, because you think like, oh, like I'm just gonna, you know, get my grade and then be fine. But once you get into that higher level education, when you really want to know that subject, it's important to study as much as you can for yourself so that you can use that later. And so I wish that studying would have had a different tone on it from the beginning, instead of like a negative, like, oh, I have to go home and study now, this is going to be horrible. Put a positive tone on it, like, I can't wait to know this operation in math more, or this subject in history more, or know how to express myself through English more.
It's just making it more individualized, you know, not expecting every kid to learn the exact same as the next kid, which I do think is where we're kind of heading, which is nice.
Probably more hands-on stuff. I don't know. That just works for younger kids. I'm thinking especially about younger kids.
Yeah.
So probably, yeah, more hands-on and interactive, because that helps especially to be more social.
You know, just focus more on group projects, because I don't know, it's unlikely that you'll ever be doing it on your own when you're out of school. So make school resemble life outside of school more.
freedom that is associated with being a professor. I know there are a lot of rigors of paperwork and administrative duties that the teachers must undergo.
I like working with students at a level that are older than K through 12. I'm really into research and really into encouraging people to sort of push at a higher level, and I don't think I'd be very good at that lower level where I think a different kind of patience and different kinds of sensitivities to students' needs is required.
I do think I give them passion. I'm able to, it's sort of as an exemplar of what I believe in, show them how you can be passionate about things, how you can make a habit of learning and make learning and a desire to consume experiences as a way of self-aggrandizement and self-improvement and self-betterment.
But I think that theater also teaches, and that one of the things that is a byproduct of the things that we do in our classes, helps students develop their abilities to communicate with other people, to work in a group, to be a team player, to understand how to collaborate and work together toward a common goal. All of those things I think are helpful to any student in any kind of occupation.
One of the things that I try to do in the classes and that we try to do as a faculty is we try to encourage students to sort of learn how to learn. We try to teach them design thinking rather than prepare them for specific careers or train them in specific applications. So we try to get them to think more critically about what it means to be a designer in a way that hopefully, if we do our job right, students can carry over to kind of anything they'd be asked to do in the profession.
They're so influential to children, and I mean teachers, educators, and young people, and the culture of education is something that's utterly castigated and treated dismissively all over the country, when actually education should be one of the first things we talk about and one of the most important things that we can instill in children, high school people, college people throughout.
I think by valuing teachers more, I don't think that kind of from the top down education and the people who are responsible for it are really valued for the work that they do and the skills that they do. I think recognizing that would improve the entire situation. It would make life better for teachers, and I think sort of support the work they do. It would provide them with more opportunities and more interest in furthering their own education.
I think that most systems in most states suffer right now from rather too much emphasis on administration and very blinkered views of what it means to train students for a professional life or an economically successful life, and not enough resources on faculty and encouraging the students to think more critically and more expansively in the kinds of ways that actually society really benefits from economically and culturally and spiritually. I would say get rid of boards of trustees and get rid of boards of governors. They exist in the minds of the people that created them to keep systems responsible to taxpayers or to students, but the practical effect of their existence is really to essentially make universities subject to whoever is running a state legislature if we're talking about a public school system, or large donors in the case of private systems. I think there's no real reason for them to exist.
In many ways they should have the same things, but one of the things that I see very often is, and this isn't really the fault of the student, it's more the fault of our system, our education system, and that is they are waiting to be told what to know and what to learn, rather than coming to college aggressively seeking what it is they want to learn, and being much more open to all the whirlwind possibilities of learning in new ways.
I I think the people that come to college should be the kinds of folks that are really driven to advance a field, to do research in a field, to push it outwards, right, in a way that benefits from essentially being provided a safe space for a few years.
I would change the importance of tangible digital measurement of learning. I think in two ways it's wrong. One, it's mistaking the finger for the moon. That is, it's emphasizing the least important aspect of learning, but also it forces a certain way of trying to assess what you're achieving in college. If you fill in the blanks and check the boxes and continually assess experience and information in terms of binaries, this or this, yes or no, true or false, right or wrong, then you're missing out on a universe of other things that you can learn.
I always felt that the whole idea of testing and No Child Left Behind was really nobody's out in front. It was a way to level the playing field and keep maybe higher achieving students from doing what they wanted to do or could do. I think standardized testing is very difficult for some people in a way that's unfair. I don't think it's a fair way to test across the board.
And I think it's really disappointing, especially in college, that we don't have ways for students to discover that they're not good at something and to fail safely at it. I mean, there's a real learning experience to be had in anything that you try. And sometimes the thing that you learn from trying something is that you're not that good at it, or you're not that interested in it after all. You know, the trouble is that we don't really give people the chance to explore things in college in a safe way.